人都去哪儿了？那须有一句人人皆知的话：这场天灾来自神的警告，似乎只真的严苛。天黑，别出门。
恐怕那里藏着一条生路。
In Lonely Mountain Ridge Canyon, the black stone tablets trembled as a huge body struggled under them, trying to break the seals. Chinmu jumped in shock. He had seen so many black stone tablets there were in Lonely Mountain Ridge Canyon and thought they were suppressing countless demons, maybe even a whole country. Never did he think that all these stone tablets were suppressing a single huge demon. The black tablets trembled continuously, and the soil beside them loosened as if they were going to be uprooted. The runes suddenly lighted up, and the stone tablets suddenly became like huge mountains that were incomparably heavy. They pressed down on the demon of Lonely Mountain Ridge, making it unable to move. I want revenge. In the sky above the lake, the faces of the countless women warped and cried out mournfully. I want to kill every single person in your heavenly saint cult. The black stone tablets around the lake lighted up, and the light from the runes shone on the ancient tree. The tentacles above the lake seemed to be dragged down by a weird force, and the women shrieked miserably. They tried to grab around, but they couldn't get hold onto anything, and were gradually dragged into the lake. This lake should be the damaged land that received the blood of a god and a devil. That blood was then absorbed by this ancient tree. Duty and Devil King asked in bewilderment, "Why does your homeland have so much strange stuff?" Chinmu smiled. "My homeland has much stranger things than this. Let us hurry and walk out of Lonely Mountain Ridge before nightfall so we can find a safe place." What a pity. Duty and Devil King smacked his lips and said, "That little demoness was quite pretty. Much prettier than the women in my Dutian." At this moment, Long Jiaonan and Qiu Yue met up with scholar Lan Yu monk Banchi and Yuan Shan while looking for traces of Qin Mu. Suddenly they felt a tremble coming from Lonely Mountain Ridge, and they all looked towards there. Scholar Lan Yu cried out, "Heavenly Devil Cultmaster went to God-broken mountain range. Isn't he afraid of getting shot by the mysterious pearl crossbows?" Qiu Yue waved her hand, and countless insects flew in the direction of Lonely Mountain Ridge. Heavenly Devil Cult Master is cunning, so if he went through God-broken mountain range, there probably is a way to survive there. My insects will find a path and we shall follow behind. Everyone hurried towards Lonely Mountain Ridge while the swarm of insects poured forward. While flapping their wings, they came to the lakeside where they could see demon clouds permeating the air and hear never-ending cries of Heavenly Devil Cult Master. "I will kill you. I will definitely kill you and eliminate Heavenly Saint Cult." Everyone looked at each other, and Monk Banchi coughed, then said loudly, "Demoness, what grudge do you have with Heavenly Devil Cult Master?" A woman in the prime of her youth revealed her naked body on the surface of the lake while crying pitifully. "Heavenly Saint Cult has been suppressing me here for a few hundred years. The grudge between him and me is as deep as the ocean, and we cannot live under the same sky. If you can save me, I am willing to devote my life to you." Monk Banchi smiled. "I'm a monk, so I don't need you to devote your life to me. You just have to convert to Buddhism and assist me in killing Heavenly Devil Cult Master. Then this little monk will break the seal here and release you." "I'm willing to convert to Buddhism," the woman cried out in surprise and delight. Scholar Lan Yu Yuan Shan Yu and the rest frowned as they wanted to advise against it. But Monk Banchi had already pulled out a black stone tablet and thrown it on the ground. "Fellow Dao friends, this is a demon that Heavenly Devil Cult has suppressed. And since Heavenly Devil Cult belongs to the Devil Path, the demon they suppressed must be a good demon. Everyone help me push down all these demon suppression stones to save this friend." Everyone could only go forward and push down the stone tablets together. Boom! The mountains trembled, and the roots rose up once again. Below the tree, a huge black ball swelled up continuously, becoming bigger and bigger. The black roots squirmed like flood dragons and huge snakes, revealing countless white bones among themselves. Monk Banchi saw these white bones buried under and felt a bone-chilling cold go down his spine. He suddenly had a thought that this demon which Heavenly Devil Cult had suppressed might not be a friend of the same path. On the contrary, it could be an existence that was even more wicked than Heavenly Devil Cult. "Quickly run," Long Jiaonan screeched. Everyone hurriedly sprinted away in the direction of great ruins. "I'm free, I'm finally free. Countless mournful cries could be heard behind them as black stone tablets trembled before collapsing onto the ground. Thick tentacles tunneled out from the ground, waving non-stop. At the end of each root was a beautiful smiling woman. Heavenly Saint Cult said I had eaten too many humans, so they suppressed me here. Thank you, little monk. I can finally eat humans again. Monk Banchi's scalp went numb. As they fled in panic, the mountains trembled violently. Countless rocks shot through the air, and from beneath them pitch-black tentacles burst forth, twisting, writhing the very roots of the lonely mountain ridge root demon. The heavenly devil cult had once used demon suppression blackstone tablets to seal her. The ones around the lake and ancient tree had pinned down her head while deeper underground. The rest of her body lay imprisoned. But now, those tablets had been destroyed, and she was free. A terrifying power erupted. Boom! The black stone tablets that suppressed her roots were blasted into the air, shattering into dust under her overwhelming force. How can a mere tree demon possess such strength? Monk Banchi cried out, his voice trembling. Was this monster deliberately sealed here by the heavenly devil cult to harm people? Before anyone could respond, Hosh! Massive roots lashed toward them like whips. At the tip of each root hung a beautiful woman, smiling eerily. Trying to run, they giggled in unison. You saved me, and I haven't repaid you yet. Their voices softened into something chilling. Why not stay and become one with me? Kyoyu flicked her sleeve. Thousands of venomous insects surged forward, swelling in size mid-air until each was several meters long. They lunged at the roots, gnashing with razor-sharp teeth. Crack, crack. Their teeth shattered. They couldn't even pierce the surface. What? Kyuka gasped. Then she saw it. From the navels of those women, thin, thread-like roots sprouted, piercing through her insects. In the blink of an eye, only empty husks remained. Every drop of flesh drained away. Yen Shan roared and leapt into the air, sword pellets spinning as he thrust forward. Slash! A woman's head fell to the ground. It shriveled instantly, turning into a lump of black charcoal. But the headless body grew a new head. Wenjam froze, and in that instant, a root pierced through his back like lightning. His body convulsed. Within a heartbeat, all his flesh vanished. Only a hollow skin remained. Run! No one dared hesitate. Behind them, countless black tentacles writhed across the sky, anchoring into the cliffs and dragging something enormous out of the earth. A monstrous mass. A black sphere like a tangled ball of roots with countless tendrils dangling, and within them white bones gleamed. Boom! The disturbance triggered the mysterious pearl crossbows on the mountain peaks. Two colossal beams of arrow light tore through the sky and slammed into the demon. A scream erupted, layered, overlapping, as if countless souls howled at once. The mountains shook. Snow collapsed in roaring avalanches. We made it, they gasped in relief. But the next moment, crash! A single tentacle smashed a crossbow into pieces. Then another, both divine weapons destroyed. Their faces turned pale. Nothing could stop it now. They fled on Long Jiaonan's crimson serpent, racing out of Lonely Mountain Ridge. But behind them, it was still coming. Too massive to fly, dragging itself forward, pulling mountains with it. Each movement shook the earth like the end of the world. The heavenly devil cult, what sins have they committed? Monk Banchi trembled, voice filled with rage or fear. How many lives did they sacrifice to raise such a monster? No one answered, because deep down, they all knew. They were the ones who released it. The great ruins, someone whispered. A lawless land. Here, there was no right or wrong. Only one rule: eat or be eaten. A massive fish leapt from a swamp, devouring a young expert whole. A golden-winged bird descended from the sky, crushing Scholar Lan Yu's skull in a single strike. His headless body was carried into the forest. Don't fly. Stay on the ground, Kyoya shouted. But the ground wasn't safe either. Fish could run. Trees could run. Even the forest was running, all fleeing. From the root demon behind them, far ahead, Kinma sat calmly on the dragon Killin's back, as if on a leisurely stroll. This is the great ruins, he said with a faint smile. It has its own rules. You can fly, but don't fly high. At night, don't go out. And remember, his voice grew quieter, the more lawless a place is, the more you must respect its rules. Duty and Devil King scoffed. Isn't this just survival of the fittest? Chinmu shook his head. Number. Its survival at any cost. Suddenly, boom, the ground split open. A gigantic palm covered in golden fur and engulfed in flames burst from beneath the earth and slammed down. The root demon was sent flying like a black ball, vanishing into the distance. Everything fell silent. The fleeing beasts stopped, turned, and calmly returned to their territories, as if nothing had happened. Duty and Devil King stood frozen. After a long time, he muttered, "I want to go home." The Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor and his wife had been staying in Little Jade Capital, the city in the sky, for over 10 days. This floating city resembled a paradise. Clouds drifted like silk jade mountains, hovered in the heavens, and its scenery was so breathtaking that one could almost forget the mortal world below. Has Imperial Preceptor grown accustomed to this place? An elder in white robes approached with a gentle smile. The Imperial Preceptor clasped his hands and replied solemnly, "Little Jade Capital lives up to its reputation. The scenery here is extraordinary. I almost forgot to return." He paused, his gaze sharpening. "Yet this place does not belong to the human world. My ambitions lie elsewhere. Sooner or later, I must leave." Hermit Ching Yu chuckled softly. "There is no need to rush. I invited you here as a guest, yet I have not told you the true origins of Little Jade Capital." The Imperial Preceptor showed a hint of curiosity. "I would like to hear." They stepped onto a rainbow bridge carved from 7-colored jade. Walking upon it felt like strolling across the heavens themselves. When they reached its center, the scenery changed. Floating mountains arranged themselves into a natural formation, and palaces dotted their peaks, homes of the so-called Immortals. Ching Yu spoke calmly. "The origins of Little Jade Capital are older than you imagine. They trace back to the founding emperor era." The Imperial Preceptor frowned slightly. "Founding emperor. Eternal Peace has never had such an era. Because it did not belong to Eternal Peace, Ching Yu replied. It belonged to the founding emperor empire. And that empire is what we now call the Great Ruins." The Imperial Preceptor's body stiffened. He exhaled slowly. "The Great Ruins." Ching Yu continued as they walked toward a floating jade mountain. "The Taoists call it the founding emperor era. The Buddhists call it the emptiness era, formation, existence, destruction, and emptiness. Now we call this the Eternal Peace era. The catastrophe that destroyed the Great Ruins. We call it the founding emperor calamity." The Imperial Preceptor's wife asked softly, "If Eternal Peace were to fall, would you call it the Eternal Peace calamity?" Cheng Yu smiled faintly. "Madam is indeed perceptive." He pointed toward a distant jade peak where Taoists were constructing a palace. "That place will record the history of this era so future generations may learn from it." The Imperial Preceptor's wife narrowed her eyes slightly. "What exactly is Little Jade Capital?" she asked. "Is it righteous or evil? And why have you kept us here for so long?" Ching Yu smiled calmly. "We have no intentions. We merely observe, record, preserve. We call ourselves immortals, not gods, because we do not interfere with the affairs of the world." The Imperial Preceptor asked, "What is the difference between immortals and gods?" Ching Yu answered simply, "Immortals are still human. Gods are not." Silence fell. The Imperial Preceptor pondered. "Then, humans cannot become gods." Ching Yu did not answer directly. Instead, he asked, "You have reached the Divine Bridge realm. When you stand upon the Divine Bridge, what do you see?" The Imperial Preceptor said nothing. Ching Yu continued, "The Divine Bridge is meant to lead to the realm of gods. But every bridge is broken. No one can reach the other shore. Not even you." The Imperial Preceptor nodded slowly. "I discovered this years ago and found no solution in ancient texts." Ching Yu replied, "We have records, but even Little Jade Capital cannot fix it. So, since we cannot become gods, we chose to become immortals instead." They entered a grand hall. It was elegant yet cold, silent, empty. A paradise devoid of warmth. Ching Yu opened a door deep within the palace. During the founding emperor era, some people managed to reconnect their bridges. They built a glorious divine dynasty. But now it is gone, reduced to dust. That place is today's Great Ruins. The Imperial Preceptor's eyes lit up. They became gods. King Yu nodded, but very few remain, and they are known as those abandoned by the gods. The abandoned people in the Great Ruins. Number. Ching Yu shook his head. Most people there still have broken bridges. But there is another group. He pushed open the library doors. Those from Carefree Village. Their divine bridges are complete, and they are what the gods truly fear. Rows of bookshelves stretched before them, filled with ancient records. The entire history of the founding emperor era lay here. Read these, Qingyu said, bowing slightly. You will understand why history repeats itself. If you continue your path, eternal peace will face the same fate. Elsewhere, in the great ruins, a devil muttered in despair, I only wanted a weak world for my people to survive. Dutian is dying. Let me go back. Hugh Linger whispered, Young master, should we let him go? Qinmu shook his head. I don't trust him. This is only his consciousness. His true body is still in Dutian. If he summons it here, we're finished. Ahead, Border Dragon City came into view. Qinmu finally relaxed. He was home.